Bam! Attached. The new science of adult attachment and how it can help you find and keep love. They're asking a lot. I mean, it's a very for $17. This book is gonna deliver all the things. It's gonna deliver love. That's asking a lot. If you've never watched my book reviews, I don't really do book reviews. I just do takeaways because I feel like any book that you read, whether it's good or horrible, there's something to be learned. And so I do recommend this book. I have a couples therapist, I have an individual therapist, I have all the IS, and they all recommend this book to everybody. At least that's what they say. I don't know if they're saying it to make me feel better about it, but a lot of people talk about this book, and when I post it on Instagram, everyone, men, women, children, aliens, everybody talked about how they read and loved this book. If you haven't read it, it talks about our attachment styles, meaning like when we get into a relationship, how do we hook up with the other person, personality wise? So what I found is like the book breaks down the attachment styles in three parts: anxious, avoidant, or secure. There is a fourth one, which is like anxious avoidant, which I am, and I'll get into that in a second. But anxious people are people who really want to be close, but they're afraid of being rejected. So then at some point they pull back and don't express their needs and wants and feels. Avoidant people keep everybody at an arm's distance, even though they really want to be close. So avoidant people are usually annoyed or feel smothered in a relationship. But then when they're by themselves, they break up. They're like, oh, she was just too smothering. They end up feeling depressed and sad and lonely. So you're either very close up front or you're very standoffish up front. And then secure people are people who have no issue with expressing their needs, wants, desires. There's no friction between those. And that doesn't mean that we should all strive to be secure, because secure people actually end up in relationships that don't serve them because they're more forgiving of their partner's issues. So not one is good or bad. It's just about what's effective for you. And it's really about being aware of what your attachment style is, so that you can catch when you're avoiding or shutting down or even, smothering the other person. And so the fourth one, which is what I am, is anxious avoidant. And so I go back and forth between wanting to be all really snuggly and cuddly with my girl, and then I'm like, I need space. And I go like on a 20-mile hike or something like that. So, and that's because like I have an anxious attachment with my dad, and I have an avoidant attachment with my mom, which I'm working on. That's why I have all the therapists. But this book is super helpful. The one big takeaway from this book is that it shares that we are all needy. A lot of us are running around acting like, I don't need anybody. I can do this. I'm self-reliant. I don't need your help. Yeah, you do. We all do, especially during this pandemic. Everybody's needy. Not only are people needy, communities are needy, countries are needy, the world is needy. Everybody needs everybody. America needs China. All the imports, look at anything you have in your house right now is come from China. We need China. We need Russia. That's where your Tolstoys and your Dostoevskys and all the chess. I mean, we wouldn't have the Queen's Gambit if it wasn't for Russia and somebody to fight against. And Rocky IV, Rocky fought. Like they're fun to make fun of, right? They're fun villains and great people, because my girlfriend is Russian, so I have to say that. But the book shares that we are all needy. What the key is to make sure that we are effectively expressing our needs. So there's one thing to say, Where were you? You don't, you're never here. You don't pick up. Like, that's ineffective neediness, right? But to say, I miss you, that's effective neediness, because you're not attacking the person. You're just expressing your emotions. Or the way that the book spells it out is to say, is to express your feels, wants, and needs, and then follow that up with a when. Meaning, like, you would say, I feel invaluable when you don't return my phone calls. I feel anxious when you come home later than you said you would, right? I want us to spend more time together when we're at, I want us to sit down to dinner together when it's, a weekday, or I want us to go out for dinner when it's the weekend or something like that. So expressing your needs, your wants, and your feels, and then following it up with a when, so that we understand the conditions of this. A lot of times when we make a demand, right? It just seems like we want that thing all the time. It's like, we never spend time together. Well, it's like, it sounds like you want us to always spend time together, or that. And also it invalidates the time that we have spent together, because there is no blanket statement. So learning how to be effectively needy is, to me, the biggest takeaway from this book. What else was there? If you are, my other favorite part was, happiness is only real when shared. So that goes back to the neediness. A lot of times we think we can just do things by ourselves, and that we should, but really the joys, the highs are best when shared with other people. They give the example of this kid who went out into the wild for months because he wanted to find himself, and he realized it sucked. It was horrible because he was by himself. So the good that happened, he didn't have anybody to share it with, nor the bad that happened, which is why he died. He died out there because he got bit and he wasn't with anybody else. So finding someone to share your life with and finding an effective way to communicate. So if you're arguing with somebody right now in a relationship, or there's just a bunch of discourse and back and forth, it's not that there's a problem with the person, and there's not a problem with you. There's a problem with how you're both communicating with each other. So that's the benefit of going to a therapist or a coach. You can go to thrivewithleo.com if you want one-on-one coaching with yours truly, and I can teach you how to effectively communicate people you're in a relationship with, because this also translates into business. A lot of us aren't getting paid what we're worth because of ineffective negotiation, which is the result of ineffective communication, right? We're afraid to ask for what we're worth or for what we want due to some insecurity issues or inadequacy issues, et cetera, et cetera. So pick up the book, Attached. It's a great book. It's an easy read. I have a bunch of tabs up there. It was written by Amir Levine and blah, 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 blah. I'm Leo Flowers. Check out the other book reviews. I'll be posting more of these. I've been kind of not slacking on reading or listening, but just slacking on posting. So I'm going to post Frankenstein, and I'll see you soon. Go to thrivewithleo.com for one-on-one coaching with yours truly.